Hello Pisces, this is your reading for the month of April. This is a general reading. If it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't resonate, then it doesn't. It is for Sun, Moon and Rising in Pisces. April 2019. I hope you are well, Pisces. It's interesting time. We just moved out of Pisces into Aries not so long ago. This must feel quite different, and in a way maybe it's a release of pressure, because there was a lot going on in Pisces. Mercury in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces, and all the conversations and dialogue were quite intense, quite flowy. There's still a lot of that going on, but the shift is changing, the energy is changing, yeah. So let's see, what do we have for Pisces for the month of April 2019? Pre-shuffled your cards already, and now let's see what pops up for you. That's gonna be the energy for Pisces in April 2019. Check out also your other signs in your chart, your main placements, like what's your sun and what's your rising and what's your moon, because these readings are focused on one particular energy, say your sun or your moon. If your moon is in Pisces, for example, and your sun is in Aries, there's gonna be different aspects of yourself with different character. There we go, it's 3 of Cups, beautiful. 3 of Cups, nice. Cause for celebration, joyful reunion with friends and family. Queen of Swords. What else do we have for Pisces in April 2019? Alright, so we have the Hanged Man and Temperance. Beautiful. Bottom of the deck we have the High Priestess, which makes a lot of sense. So the bottom of the deck is pretty much your theme. Your theme is the High Priestess, which means the voice within and intuition and reconciliation of dualities within you. Wow, this is beautiful energy, Pisces. There's very powerful, which again makes a lot of sense if you've started to, you've gone deep with this previous month and the work that you've done, and it wasn't comfortable. And I'm gonna pull up some clarifiers for all these cards. So I think that with the High Priestess here, you've actually gone deep already, and maybe it's important to keep staying like a little bit into that intuition, like tuning into your intuition and creating space for that. Staying connected to your inner voice through meditation, through whatever practices you may do that allow you to be in silence and really like connect to your inner self, if that makes any sense to you. Connect to the voice of wisdom that comes through getting into your body and out of your mind. What else do we have? Please clarify these cards. What do we have for Cancer? Not Cancer, I'm sorry. For Pisces. For April 2019. Let's clarify this 3 of Cups. 3 of Cups, it's celebration, it's beautiful. So what is it that you are celebrating. All right, maybe I think it has to do with decision making and communication here. The Two of Wands is a card of diplomacy as well, like learning how to communicate diplomatically, and that might be because you don't have all the information right now about whatever it is that you need to communicate, so you need to kind of hold back a little bit and postpone that passionate communication that may want to come out and therefore you need to use diplomacy to make sure that the communication that you have with your friends and family into this space of joy and happiness doesn't come out as abrupt. Like the Queen of Swords can be rather abrupt. But I think this is why you're going inside. This is why you are being called to really connect to your inner self, because whatever information you don't have yet, and you see like this lady is being blinded here. She can't see things clearly. That's why she's waiting in this position at yeah, it's at the shore. I think it has to do with emotions, and yeah, Three of Cups is it's a Cups energy, which has to do with emotions. So I think that the information that you lack right now has to do with either your own emotions, either understanding other people's emotions around you, of your friends, soul family, and going inside. By the way, see the blues. This is like she's all dressed in blue, and this card is the predominant color is blue. I think they're twos, yeah, 2 and 2. So it has to do with sorting out your emotions and sorting out the opposites within yourself, the duality. Like the High Priestess, she has these two columns around her throne, and one of them is mastery of the light and one of them is mastery of the dark. And through this you can go from conscious to unconscious, good versus bad, known versus unknown, all kinds of opposites. Well, she mastered both of them. She has knowledge of both of them because she's gone deep and she keeps them in balance. And this has to do with the duality of your own emotions here, I suppose, and communication of that through diplomacy. Okay, let's clarify this Queen of Swords. Oh wow, and another two of Pentacles with Queen of Swords, coming right after the Two of Swords with the base energy of the High Priestess, which is a 2. Oh wow, so there's a lot of duality going on within you right now. Duality, which is important, because we need to first understand duality in order to understand the self and the separate self or the illusion of the separate self, before we really understand the mysteries of the universe. The High Priestess is about the birth of duality. And here you're like experiencing duality very deeply within yourself right now, and has to do with a mental level, like your mind starts seeing this duality going on within you, and it also happens pretty much on your physical level, in your daily life. You may be confronting with choices and with that you don't really know what to do about it, but you're kind of juggling different tasks and different things that may be a little bit from different worlds. Like you we all somehow have like different worlds that we live in, and we are like the hero of different stories, different narratives that we identify with. And sometimes, say, just to give an example, maybe at work I am the leader, the project leader, or the team manager, or something like that, and I identify with that in a certain way, right? And then with my friends, for example, when I go out and I just like hang out with, and completely disconnect from work, then I'm a different persona. I'm someone else. Maybe I'm the very chill, laid back, joyful person, and deep and spiritual, or whatever your Pisces, you're very deep and spiritual and intuitive. So sometimes, like if you hang out with friends from your close circle, and then you bump up into friends, colleagues from work, then these two different worlds started like colliding, and that can bring like emotional conflict, a little bit of turbulence. Look at the water behind here, that's emotion. But I think you're juggling with it quite gracefully, and you're juggling with communication here. The Queen of Swords, well, she's a communicator, right? She's got like a lot of mental clarity. So you're going out of this a little bit like confusion. But I think like in this case, the Queen of Swords has to do a lot with communicating these dualities within you. See, like both these twos have water behind them. It all has to do with emotions. Emotions applied at a physical level, and emotions applied at a mental level. And communication of that can be challenging. And communication of boundaries that we need in order to set a container for these emotions, to allow ourselves to feel them. Please clarify the Hangman. Please clarify the Hangman. Oh wow, beautiful. The King of Cups. Please clarify the Temperance card. Let's see what's the energy that goes along with the Temperance. The way I like to pull out two cards all the time is because there's different aspects of the same story. Sometimes different roles that are being played in the same dynamics, but it's always a dynamics of at least one or two energies that can be opposing, or can be complementary, or can be supportive, or a little bit challenging. So there's always a bigger picture than one side of the story that can give us more in-depth understanding of the situation. So the Temperance comes with the 8 of Pentacles, and to go along with your theme, bottom of the deck you have the Strength card. Beautiful. All right. So yeah, I think you're finding like this need of reconciling opposites within yourself and communicate in a diplomatic way. What is it that you're struggling with, and what is it that you find you need to find balance in? And yeah, this balance that you found, well, it's there. You gracefully juggle everything, you're multitasking there, but it's a precarious sort of balance, and there's nothing wrong with that. It is where you are, and it's fine to be where you are. We all are where we are in our journey. Our task is not to change that, but rather to observe where we are and accept it. and in this case to communicate it to your close friends and family, to your soul family, to those around you that are there to support you, and you're there to support them. And it's beautiful. You have the support, and I think they have the understanding. If you try to like make sense out of these inner dualities within you that keep popping up, and and allow yourself to communicate it from the heart, communicate it with words, yes, or with whatever means you find to communicate. Can be speech, can be writing, but it's like authentic communication, and it's also communication of the boundaries. Sometimes, like, our friends tend to love to shower us with attention, and especially if they feel like that there's something going on with us that we're not very in control of at the moment, or we're still like struggling to sort it out. And instead of giving us the space to sort it out, they tend to maybe come into our lives and, what do you need? What do you want? What can I do for you? I'll take you out. I'll take you out for a drink and a coffee and this, and this. And it's beautiful to have the attention, but sometimes that's exactly the opposite of what we need. We don't need to be pampered. We don't need to spend so much time with people to distract ourselves from what is it that we're going through. Maybe sometimes we really need is that space of inner search, inner connection, to allow these ideas to mature, and to allow the mind to make sense of all these like opposites within itself. So I think that sometimes we need to communicate these boundaries of like, okay, I know you love me, I know you care for me, but what I need right now is space. Thank you so much. And there you go, it comes with the Hangman and the King of Cups. So I think the Hangman, it's about taking space, really, and going again within, and spending some time with oneself, and try to see things from a different perspective. And I think this brings a lot of like emotional stability and emotional understanding your primary needs here at an emotional level. As I said, both these cards are really about emotions, and the Three of Cups is about like the mental aspect of emotional as well. Like 3 is about the mental, 2 and Cups are about emotions. This is 2 of Swords. Swords is again mental energy, and 2 is about emotions. A lot of a lot of like emotional awareness and learning about what is it that your emotions are trying to tell you. And the King of Cups is like the master of that. He's really understood how to work with emotions, and he really understood how to use his emotion as a compass. As a compass to, okay, so if this feels wrong, something feels wrong in here, I can't find the logic for it. I can't really, it's hard to communicate it, but it does feel wrong. And instead of like trying to rationalize it, why, or try to like, because sometimes like things that don't make any sense is not very rational. I just don't feel like, I don't know, maybe friends coming into my life and trying to help me. Sometimes I feel like maybe it's not really about me, it's about them. It's about them playing the role of being the helper. And my emotions say like, no, I need space here, but I find it hard to communicate diplomatically. And yeah, it's about like learning how to use this feeling and trust it and follow it. That's why we need this Queen of Swords here to really communicate it clearly and set those boundaries, to create a space for the Hangman, to create a space for you to become this King of Cups again, which is like full of understanding of your emotion, full of understanding of both your what is it perceived as negative emotions or positive emotions. It's not really about the positive and negative, they're both emotions. And we because we are like mammals, and we operate a lot from this mammal brain of ours, the limbic system. We tend to avoid the dark emotions, and just like seek the ones that give us pleasure. And that's not the point. The point is to honor both, because they are information. Emotions are information that come from your inner self. And the hangman knows this. That's why he's waiting here. And you see, the hangman is doing this retreat, which looks a little bit uncomfortable there, hanging from that tree. But he's doing this on purpose. He's doing this like he has this very serene expression on his face. This is a retreat which is done voluntarily, and he knows that he's learning from this. And there you go. This is a retreat card. This is another retreat card. So maybe you really need to take that space, Pisces, and sort out this opposing emotions. And you feel maybe like, yeah, at the crossroads. You don't really know what your emotions are telling you. You're getting like mixed signals here, and having this change of perspective by taking the space, you're allowing the King of Cups energy to surface within you, and you allow yourself to embody this full emotional understanding. And again, it's understanding of your both positive and negative emotions. Why do I feel angry? Why do I feel frustrated? Why do I feel like I'm checking out? At the surface, everything seems fine. Everything seems like, okay, I can juggle, I can party, I can communicate. And yet something feels like inherently not necessarily wrong, but something's just not fitting in there. What is it? How am I going to find out? I'm going to find out by going within, by allowing myself to change a perspective through the information that I download from my inner self. And I'm embodying this King of Cups energy. It's beautiful, beautiful, Pisces. And this brings in temperance. This brings in temperance, and this brings in like real balance here. And see, there's like the Temperance card is an angel who's like pouring the life, the water of life, the source energy from one cup to another, again having to do with emotions. So you learn how to temper your emotions by listening to them and by allowing yourself to feel them and by deeply understanding them. The King of Cups really understands what's going on at the emotional level within oneself, and he's an emotional authority. That means that you're learning how to really step in your emotional authority, and you don't need to act on emotions. Like when I'm saying that you need to feel them, you need to really understand them, you really need to allow yourself the space. It doesn't mean that I'm going to start acting on my emotions. If I feel angry, I'm not going to start smashing stuff or yelling at people, but I need to acknowledge these feelings, and I need to understand where does this come from. And I think this process brings you exactly this, brings this emotional stability. And also brings in this curiosity. The Temperance card, it's an amazing energy, really. It's not as boring as it sounds with the Temperance. Oh my God, I need to temper my emotions. It's all about self-control and this. No, it's more about curiosity. And this is fire energy, by the way. So fire with emotion, spiritual and emotional realm kind of working together here. That means that you're really understanding your emotion and you are growing spiritually from this. Temperance comes naturally as you understand your emotion through this Hangman and King of Cups energy. And you become curious about your emotion. You're embracing them. And you're embracing life more as you're not afraid of your emotions any longer. And you see this guy is like a scientist. See, it's got this what's it called? What the doctors have on the head. So when he's like pouring this water from one cup to another, it's also sort of assessing and learning how to work with it and having this curiosity, like a little bit like a, yeah, like a scientist. Okay, so if I put a little bit of water here, and I'm taking it from this one and putting it in the other one, and change my focus here, and see it has this fire sign here right at the heart, and look at this from my heart space, not from my head space. How does this feel like? Okay, whoa, okay, ooh, there are these emotions coming through. Okay, let's see, let's try to digest them a little bit. How does this feel? Okay, so if I take these actions, how will this affect these emotions? Okay, yeah, it feels much better. All right, let's try this one. No, this doesn't feel right. Okay, let's revisit. Let's creating new strategies, and play with it. Really play with it. Create what is it that works for you, and you're doing it. This is a card of like self-mastery of your skills, and this is application in your 3D life, in your physical ground, in your grounded reality. You're doing the work. You're putting in the work in order to embody this temperance energy. And it's a cycle, by embodying this temperance energy, you are perfecting your craft you're perfecting your skills of working with oneself, of working with emotions, and creates a stability in your 3D reality as it is. Our inner landscape sometimes can be very tumultuous, and that can bring and attract certain life experiences in everyday life, in the 3D reality, that help us or come as a result of this inner landscape. It's never really like, and that's when we start like getting out of the duality and understanding that I'm not just the self, I am everything else. Because what happens outside of me, it's a reflection of what happens inside of me, and they're all coming together. There's not a separate I. But we need to go through duality first, because this is the nature of our experience. And we need to understand what I means. Who am I? And this brings up a lot of strength. This pulls out the strength in you. You're growing stronger and stronger by taming the beast, by taming the passion, the drive, the animal side of you, because you learn how to deal with your emotions, because you learn how to control them. But when I'm saying controlling emotion means just not reacting on them and not feeling like the victim of your emotions, but rather really understand them, process them, and go through it smoothly. This gives you so much strength. This lady is like very loving and compassionate to this lion, right? And she doesn't look like a warrior. She doesn't look like somebody who's fighting the lion or dominating the lion. No, it's much more softer energy of love and compassion. And this is the thing that we learn through this process, that we can only have love and compassion for ourselves. They will bring this temperance and emotional balance, and it will bring like this structure, double structure. It's an 8, yeah. It's a very, very grounded growth within our daily experience, because we learn to be compassionate with ourselves, and we learn to give ourselves space, and we learn to communicate with ourselves and the rest, and accept everything as it is. Accept the duality. When you find yourself in duality, trust your intuition, trust your emotions, trust your feelings, trust your inner voice. You need space for that, though. You need to communicate the need for space. You need this little bit retreat period. So yeah, Pisces, I think you need to go a little bit in this retreat mode to process your emotions and to learn how to use them to grow, to create stability in your environment. It's a beautiful reading, Pisces. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope this reading makes sense to you. If you enjoyed the reading, please like, share, and subscribe so my channel can grow and this information can reach as many people as possible that maybe need the insights that can come with a tarot reading. Thank you so much, and enjoy the ride and enjoy April. I'll see you here next time, Pisces.